Thank you very much for attending the Monday night meeting, regular meeting of the Buchanan City Commission, Monday, January 27, 2025. We do not have any recognition. If everybody could join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Whedon,
Here.
Bianski,
Here.
Money,
Present.
Swem,
Present.
George. Here. You have a quorum.
I'll take a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved. Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Bianski,
Here.
Money,
Yes.
Swem,
Here. Or yes.
George.
Sorry.
Got you. Whedon.
I think the limited vocal.
Yeah.
Okay, at this time, we will take public comment for agenda items only. Please approach the podium and keep your comments to 2 minutes for agenda items only, stating for the record. Okay, seeing no one approach the podium. For the consent agenda, I will take a motion to approve the consent agenda.
This is Money. I'd move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Okay, do we have a second? Thank you.
Can I ask one question?
Yeah, absolutely.
What's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years calendar?
Just the terms. We have to do them terms, so.
So within that,
Oh.
yeah, so
There.
if you read within that,
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah, they had to have that language.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. All right, then we have no, common rental, consider the common rental for submitted by Victoria Alves for Buchanan Community Autism Walk. Is that part of the consent?
Yeah, that's part of the consent.
Yeah, we're good. All right, schedule matters from the floor. We do not have any reports from department committees and boards. We have no unfinished business. New business update. City manager, Tony.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
First thing I want to talk to you about is the upcoming budget process. It is getting that time of year to begin that process all over again. The look on your face tells me how much you all love it. As you guys know, you came together as a new commission last November to set some goals and some priorities. Those are included in your packet for you. Also included some goals from some other communities I've worked in the last few years, just to give you something to benchmark again to think about. So the question behind before you guys and to talk about this evening is, beyond the kind of strategic planning session you had last November, do you guys want to have another one amongst yourselves before we get into the budget? So as we know, as a community, we always have more needs, not just needs, but good legitimate needs, and we have money, unfortunately. So for us as a staff, it helps us to know what your guys' goals are as a group, so we can prioritize that little bit of, I don't want to call it discretionary spending, but that stuff that's not dictated by our core services. It helps us allocate that amongst those. So we can work off of what you did in that November that I included, or if you guys wanted to take whatever works for you to make sure we got as much alignment as possible on those goals before we start the budget process. So that's the first thing, is to have that conversation as to whether you want to do some more planning yet for a day. And the second is we need to set kind of our budget period. I put some just placeholder dates in here for you to discuss, and if they work for you, we'll go with those. They would be March 12th, we do our budget workshop that you guys do every year. April 28th, a draft budget presentation. And then on May 26th, the final budget for adoption for going into our next fiscal year in July. So with that, I'd like to ask you as a group, how would you like to proceed? You want us to use the goals you had established while using the budget development and going through that process with you? Do you want to meet beforehand? And then secondly, will these dates work for you guys?
I think as it stands today, the consensus that I had from the commission is that
I can hear it.
Okay. So the consensus that we had is that what we had established during the time that Tim Lynch was in office, that the goals and expectations that we had from each department were well justified and had been clearly defined in what our expectations were. I don't think that they've been deviated from that at any point.
Cool.
I think that we just move forward with our budget expectations for fiscal year 26 And I don't think that we need any additional meetings at this
Perfect.
time unless somebody else has any requirements.
I think at least one meeting, like a preliminary meeting, but after you take the November meeting information, show us what you got, what you're coming up with, because I think there'll be some changes, like medical marijuana revenue, you know, and how does that impact
Right.
us before we, it'd be nice to have at least one workshop before we bring it for a formal approval, is all.
All right, that
And
worked.
I think that,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
And I only had that one date in the email, it just didn't work for me.
The February.
Prior- it was either February or March. One of them, I had an engagement, I think it was March.
I'll double check.
I just wanted to bring up some, that the conversation around declining marijuana revenue, I want to understand that as it stands today, no anticipation of any retail shops are closing. So and right now, that's our only revenue outside of medical marijuana stepping off of the
That's what I was referring to,
Okay.
is the permit fees related to the medicinal side. of
Okay,
the-
yeah, and I think that's still minimal compared, I mean, even though we all agree that the state should be paying this far greater than what they should, but,
Yeah,
so.
We've collected far less than the anticipated budget for that this year, so we course correct.
No, that's great direction. I read through the goals you guys did in November. They all make sense. I just want to make sure we're still aligned on that before moving forward. So what we'll do is we'll use that to rough out kind of the framework of a budget, bring it back before you guys for discussion, tweak what we need to about that, and then keep moving forward in the process.
And as far as getting any more money from the county or the state, you know, they want to tax us more for the road, so they're not gonna give us any marijuana money back at all. It's not gonna happen. I mean, you can have the conversation, but you're gonna have the conversation, and that's all it's gonna be. And as far as, I always call it the rock and roll fantasy meeting, you know, we don't have any money. I don't like sitting around wishing. We got infrastructure, we got code enforcement, we got productivity, you know, and we have, you know, our safety, our law enforcement, and our fire department, and then whatever tidbits are left over goes to the parks. And from what I really like the fact that some of these villages and cities were advocating for, you know, if they said they were gonna do something, they budgeted for it right then. They had it right then and there.
Yep.
It wasn't, well, we wanna do this, and in 10 years, it's pointless, you know, but it's gonna take a lot, Tony, and you'll find out, to get the mindset of chasing grant money. You know, it's just a mindset, because it's out there.
Oh, yeah.
And there's thousands of dollars out there.
Yeah.
So we just need to get aggressive about getting it. And I believe Barb, I think we brought it up earlier, needs to do a review on their 5-year plan. I don't know if it's 3 years old or 5 years old. And then the only other question I have, do we still have money for tearing down, demolishing more houses? Because we've got one on Fulton that's got all kinds of warning stickers on it.
The yellow one?
Yeah, there's 20 of them on it, and then there's one right next to the house, in between the church and the house that's coming down, that we've already authorized to come down. It's got a boatload of warnings on it. Now, I know condemned doesn't mean, but if somebody, you know, they don't have a for sale sign in the front, they're not trying to do anything to get rid of it, so.
Yep.
I mean, I like the idea, I hope the community or the north side like the idea that some of these houses are coming down. So,
Okay.
you know.
Thank you.
Code enforcement, code enforcement, code enforcement.
I would imagine we
Got
were
it.
touching that later.
All 3 times. Did you check that date?
Patrick cannot do the March 12th.
Do you guys want to try to figure that date out now, or do you want Cal to send you some options to replace it?
Let's send the options.
That'll work.
At
Okay.
one point if it's-
That'll work for me. Just want to see how you guys want to work. Okay.
Yeah, that's the best option. Okay, budget workshops, we'll figure that out. I think that, you know, please stand by for that one. Provide an update on the downtown construction project and finance.
Yep. So going with the downtown construction project as well as the grant opportunity here. So what's going on with the project right now is, unfortunately, from what is contracted, we have about $1.7 million in financing that's not been arranged yet for the project. So we're in the market of, and I'm going to touch on one of our options right now, the one we're going to plan on, because it's the one that is the one we can plan on at this point, is going to the common market and borrowing. Just going out to public market, see what bank will give us the best deal on 20-year financing. That's the most we'll be able to get. We're looking at a couple other options. We've asked Andy to come in and give a presentation to you about both rates and our borrowing options on this at your first meeting in February. So that'll be on your agenda. Know that is coming. But at the end of the day, we should plan on having to borrow another $1.7 million yet to fulfill our contractual obligations on that. We're going to talk about a RAP grant in a second. I'm going to make a run at that. The timing doesn't line up perfectly, but it's not a heavy lift to do that grant application. They're due this week, and we're going to take a shot at it. The other option is another funding source from the USDA. It's called community facilities, but it will pay for sidewalks, street lighting, benches. That stuff we're short in our budget right now. Unfortunately, they like to approve that before you go out to bid. We obviously didn't. The nice thing about that is it's got a 40-year amortization on it. So it really helps spread out our debt service payments and helps lower that. What I've done is I've reached out to USDA. I'm waiting for them to come back to me and said, I know this is how you like to do it. However, we had your water and sewer money in our bid documents already. So I'm hoping that the requirements of the community facilities money are the same as those other USDA funds, and they'll be open to that. Because if they are, we're still borrowing the money, but our amortization on it stretches out enough. And these things are good for 40 years, so it's not like we're borrowing money for longer than the useful life of what we're borrowing. So that's the other option I'm looking. But we should plan on worst case. We're looking at a $1.7 million borrowing to do the project, and staff right now is working to see what we can do to lower that where we can.
Can Mr. Wahlberg help you with that USDA?
Not in the, he might be able to. That's a great idea, Commissioner. I'll reach out to Lee on Tim's staff tomorrow and see if, depending on what I hear back from the USDA, that's a great idea.
Well, I seen her on Saturday.
Okay.
So I mean, I'm always hammering Buchanan.
Thank you.
And why, I thought this was all hashed out.
That's what,
And I think we're still waiting on some appropriation dollars, commitments from Wahlberg, actually.
No, well, yeah, I know with Wahlberg, but I thought this was all hashed out as far as the money. We had the money, and that's why we proceeded.
Right, and that was my understanding as well, and I think that's been a continued conversation with Tony coming in, and maybe it's just a matter of getting Tim back in here, and maybe it is just having a conversation, because I think that, and maybe correct me if I'm wrong, I think we all felt in the same capacity.
You all kind of had the same shock look when I brought it up to you.
The last conversation
Yeah.
where we all knew we had a shortfall was when we all sat here that day and cut, got it down.
Correct.
We still have that gap from that meeting on.
Who was
They
there?
were supposed to be
1.7?
working on the final bonding arrangements. I thought that was with
Because
Andy,
we
but it
had
could
gone
have
out-
been with a different group.
We went out for the new bonds and with the.
We got the
price.
USDA bonds and dot dollars, so it's
Right.
taken care of. But I knew we had that adjustment from that, just from that one day.
Right.
That makes me kind of angry, really, Becky, because the thing about it is, you know, none of us are deaf or dumb.
Oh, yeah.
And we all assumed that we had done this. So, I mean, we need to know, Tony, you need to tell us at some point where we screwed up.
Right.
You know, where did we have the blinders on, or what questions aren't we asking?
I am doing the post-mortem on that now, just so you understand. My focus is, first and foremost, on how do we move this forward.
Okay.
Secondarily, how do we keep it from happening again, and what's that policy? But it is on the agenda to figure out what happened
Well,
and put a
make
policy
sure-
in place, yes.
Please warn the guys that are supposed to be advising us that they're not doing their job. Thank you.
Okay. Couple other updates on the downtown project. It is getting ready to start pretty soon. You will actually see some tree cutting coming down before. There's a thing called the Indiana long-eared bat that's an endangered species, and any tree in this part of Michigan is a potential breeding ground. So we have to take trees down before the springtime. You'll be seeing that. They'll be starting work out the plant work in downtown. We won't see work downtown for a while. The first week of March, we will be having a stakeholders meeting, a public meeting right here with all the downtown property owners. Contractors will be here, our staff will be here, the inspector will be here, so that everybody knows timing, what's going to happen, when, who to contact with questions. We're working on a whole communications plan throughout the thing. We won't start downtown construction before we talk to everybody and do that public meeting, but things will start happening here pretty quickly. We'll be setting up a project page for the project where anybody in the community can go on and see what's going on. We'll also be doing, when we do our weekly progress meetings, we're going to have what we call tailgate talks. So we'll be doing our progress meetings downtown, Anybody who's got questions will be able to come in for an hour period just to ask right then. The key to this is just making stuff as accessible and open to people as possible so they know what's going on. Every week there'll be a report of what happened that week, what's going to go happen the next week. They'll get it blasted out to the public. And then finally on the downtown, because we will be losing some parking spaces during construction, we're working on some temporary parking and wayfinding programs too to try to get that all in place. Not try to, get that all in place before construction starts downtown. Mike and I reviewed the detour plan with the engineer this week. There will be advanced warning signs before you get to the detour area telling new traffic patterns in place or on this date, so it'll be warned that way. And then we'll just kind of keep moving with everything. So just an update for you for now on the downtown plan. But the biggest thing is to get it on your mind that we're going to be talking some borrowing next month.
Do we know anything about the wall on the hill?
That was going to be my comments later, but I will get that to you since you asked right now. Mike and I met with the contractor on Friday. He plans on starting that project first, second week of March. He's going to be on vacation the third week of February. He doesn't want to start until we know he has good weather and he's back. At maybe a day or two, we'll need to close 2 lanes of traffic, and that Mike and the chief and I will work together to do some temporary traffic through there. The majority, other than those few days, only 1 lane of traffic will be closed along the work zone itself. He's already decided he's going to meet with the funeral home. There will be no work on days there are funerals and that sort of thing. We're going to make sure there's good coordination on that. Real happy with the contractor's thoughts and approach on it when Mike and I met with him. So I think we'll have a good plan on that. So plan on that starting in March. As we get closer, we'll get more communication out to the community.
Perfect. Thank you.
I guess, just as a favor, contact the tree friends and tell them how many trees you're cutting down.
Actually, I met with the tree friends today, and we are actually, I'll be at their next board meeting. So already on it.
Okay.
Anything else?
I got more to get to, a city manager's report. I might get it there.
We just jump right to the end of the meeting on that.
Yeah.
Good. All right, so no more on the, specifically the downtown.
We're good on downtown for now, yes.
Very good. All right, moving on to, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we need to.
No, we haven't even got to the resolution on that. You want to?
Sorry, I thought that's
No, we were still on.
You know, my thought was tee you up with the fact we're going to have to borrow 1.7 million, then I'm trying to find some money to offset it.
Yeah. I think everybody's just confused. Well, let's bring this back into order, please. So, item B, resolution 2025.01/03. Consider resolution for supporting and commitment of a match for the downtown construction of the first making project.
So I'll move to approve resolution 2025.01/03, resolution to support the commitment of match for the downtown infrastructure and placemaking project.
Thank you. Do we have support?
This is money I'll support that.
And just have, so if we don't get this, we do have the money in general fund, it's just, I mean, we can work on getting it back in the general fund, but we do have it.
We have about if you look at our 9-month reserve we like to keep on hand, we have about 900,000 above and beyond that in the general fund right now.
Based on what Tim just did to get us in the budgetary black, like we're good, but we definitely want to touch that.
Yeah.
Code enforcement and selling free real estate.
Yeah.
Code enforcement and real estate.
When he says above and beyond,
And watch overtime.
you don't want to touch the principal if we can avoid it. So I mean, there's millions and millions.
Right.
But
Right, no, I understand.
it's not only 900,000.
Yeah, no, that's
I mean, once again, for the
Somebody was listening.
yeah. So anybody listening, if we didn't get a single check in tomorrow to this organization, a single dollar, we could run the city for 9 more months with what we have sitting in our accounts,
Right.
and still have 900,000 beyond that. So we're in good financial shape. We just are trying to stay in good financial shape.
Exactly.
And so that's a great thing for the public. Anybody who watches this beyond just the banter that we've just had is that this is exactly what we're talking about. The city is doing exactly what we need to do. We're fiscally conservative on our financials, and we're trying to make budgetary adjustments so that we can not spend the general fund so that we can do things that pop up for necessary needs that we can't account for, or something that Mike needs or any other facility within our business. So, yeah.
We're going bad on days after.
Yeah, exactly, for a Covert that shut down, so, or Front Street. So, that being said, thank you very much. Roll call, please.
Swem,
Yes.
George,
Yes.
Whedon,
Yes.
Bianski,
Yes.
and Money.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Very good. Okay, moving on to item C, expenditures. Consider approving expenditures for January 27, 2025. I take a motion to approve the expenditures.
I'll move to approve the expenditures in the amount of $57,446.86.
Thank you. Do I have support?
I'll support.
Thank you. Any questions?
There was, no,
Okay.
there was very few checks, and I got educated on one
You
check.
got your questions to ask?
Yep.
Okay. Roll call, please.
George,
Yes.
Whedon,
Yes.
Bianski,
Yes.
Money,
Yes.
and Swam.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. We do not have any communications at this time. We'll take public comments for non-agenda items. Please approach the podium and keep your comments to 3 minutes. Randy? I'm just kidding.
Good evening, Commissioner. I'll keep it to 3 minutes. Rady Hendrickson, Building 324, City of Buchanan, commercial property owner. A couple times a year, I try to give you guys an informal or formal update on happenings down at the building. I thought it was perfect time, beginning of the year, and we've had a little bit of movement. So in the last 6 months, the building has started up or obtained 7 new businesses to the Buchanan area. Those 7 represent all either new business to Buchanan or startups completely from zero, right? Like a brand new business. So I'd be happy to list those off for you guys really quick. Snyder Therapy and Wellness, Tranquil Massage Therapy, Chunks Ice Cream, The Sports Stash, A Strong Construction, DC Garage Doors and Entry, Jacob Day Real Estate, and A Touch of Bliss. So those all 7 businesses are either currently active or just getting started. We had actually 2 start this month, so I'll be sending some additional communication along with that. So just wanted to give you guys an update. That's 33 businesses or organizations in the building. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's an incubator right there, right?
Okay, Haley Jones, owner of Chunks. I just wanted to get up here because it's getting close to spring, and I know I said this before, like back in October. I would like before it starts to get warm and people are using the trail and coming to get ice cream, that we get a railing up by that
Yes. Tony.
part of the creek, so no kids fall down there.
Yeah, Tony, can you please put that in there?
I'm doing it on my list right now.
If you can do
Thank
that,
you.
Yeah, that's something that's been long overdue, and I think we've belabored that for far too long. Thank you for that.
And ma'am, can I get your contact information before you leave, just so I can make sure I'm looking at exactly where you want me to look at that railing area?
Yeah.
Thank
Oh,
you.
you'll see if you go down.
It takes 2.2 seconds.
It's the brand new cement wall.
Oh.
It's the brand new cement wall.
Greens did a good job of putting it up, we just did not. Safety features are not.
Got it.
Why it wasn't done.
Yeah.
I was
Rocky
glad-
now.
I agree with that as well.
I know where that is. I just want to make sure I was looking through, because there's a lot of areas along the creek with no railing. I just want to make sure I'm at the right spot. Yes.
Any other public comments? Okay, seeing nobody else approaching the podium, city manager.
Just a few more things for you guys beyond what we've talked about already. We had the pre-bid meeting at the mill site today for demolition. 13 contractors showed up. It was mandatory pre-bid, which I thought that was a pretty good turnout. So hopefully, I don't know where the price is going to come, but we should get a price that sets the market with that many contractors looking at it. This one, I don't want any credit for. This is staff here. Starting this Friday, we're going to extend city all hours so they match the rest of the week. Last Thursday, they came down to me and said, we're here anyway, why don't we just be open? So beginning this Friday, City Hall will be open just like any other day of the week through that going forward. So that there. One thing I've realized since I've been here is I hear a lot about this person gets treated this way or that way. And what I've come to realize is everybody here at City Hall has been here 4 years or less for lack, realistically. There were so many people who had been here forever. A lot of institutional knowledge was lost. And really, before there were no policies and procedures. So we are going to be spending this year focusing on our policies, our procedures, how we do business, the culture of the organization, all that sort. For example, these guys haven't had a performance review or goal setting in the last 4 years. So that kind of stuff, we're going to be institutionalizing some of that stuff that's not been going on here. So this year, really, the downtown project, the budgeting, and kind of our internal staffing beyond what we do priority-wise, that's where I'm going to spend my focus, I've realized, these last few weeks, just so you know that. So we're looking at things like utility billing policy out of the gate. We don't have a utility billing policy, when shut-offs happen, how they happen, notifications, all, so that no matter who you are, you know that this is the thing we're going to follow. So we'll be working through that. I mentioned employee goal setting, retention, reviews, all that kind of thing. And then finally, a new one we'll be looking at is a rental ordinance. I think we really need one here in the community. So Cal and I are starting to work with the last, I've been here 2 weeks, so I don't got anything really done yet. We have started.
Like, just take it so long. Yeah, just take it so long.
So, you're good. We'll be doing that. So you're just a lot of ordinance. Now, some are ordinances, so we'll bring them back to you guys for consideration, those policies. Some are internal policies, but we'll keep you updated as policies are changing so that you know that that's happening if they're internal. But if it's an ordinance that has to change, we'll be bringing that to you. And we have some ordinances we'll probably be recommending some changes on to you guys as we've been through things. Along with that, I'm working with Emma on kind of just updating our branding and consistency of what we put out of here. Letterheads, PowerPoint presentations, memos, reports. So they all have that City of Buchanan look. So you know when you see it, it's a city document. So we're working on that in conjunction with the policy. And then finally, working myself, department heads, we have a lot of surplus inventory around our city properties. We're taking this has been so.
I just want to make sure he was okay when he said that.
Am I about to screw up or do something right?
No, you did something right.
Okay, one of the two.
It's only been 6, well, I guess in your term it's been 10 years.
So department heads are working together to give to City Hall by the end of February their list of surplus equipment. I'm looking at all of our properties as well too we have. We are going to put together a list to bring to you guys in March so you can officially designate it surplus, inventory, property, whatever. And then in April we will start offloading that stuff. So we'll be working on that through the spring.
Perfect.
That is all I have for you guys this evening.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Bianski?
Well, I just want to make sure that when we go to the properties, I want to look at yard signs, whether we do it or not, and not something we write with a
No.
marker. Personally, I feel 10% is better than an RFP as far as paying a realtor 10%. Most of the communities don't like doing that. But you and I had talked about that. There's restrictions that we can put on the deed for the first 12 months, so we don't wind up with somebody sitting on the property if we want something. And I mean, we can put anything in a real estate contract we want in it. But yard signs showing people that that property's for sale is gonna sell that property more than anything else as far as vacant property. And then the word will get out in the neighborhood too. But I mean, that whole corner down there by the church is gonna be for sale. So I mean, well, and that's all privately held.
Right.
So I don't know if they're gonna sell the properties or not. You know, I haven't seen any signs down there the last time I was down there. That church on Bluff, we've been doing some research. I've been working with a real estate agent, contacted a real estate agent about it. The deed is a mess.
No.
But I'm gonna talk to Deb about it, because I don't think it's any longer, with the way the deed reads, it's no longer a church. So I don't think we've collected any property tax on it. So, there's some properties that I go around and I see, and I've been down here 9, 10 years now, and I keep writing these properties down, and I keep seeing them, and I'd be very happy to start marking them off that list. So,
Got it.
that's all I got tonight.
Thank you. Mr. Munn?
Well, I just want to start by thanking Tony and the staff for everything that they're doing. It sounds like this 2 weeks has been pretty productive, not only for you, but for the staff. It's good to see things are starting to move forward, and I'm quite sure that the staff is happy to see that. Also the department heads, because I know Mike gets frustrated sometimes, and so things are moving ahead real quickly here. Like I said, just with your 2 weeks, so I truly appreciate that.
Thank you.
I know you raised some eyebrows here on these realtors we got sitting out here, Dan, so yeah, but
Hey, we like that.
yeah, so
We like
yeah, you know, I think things are moving in a positive direction. And once again, it's always a pleasure to sit with these folks and make the decisions. Hopefully, we're doing the right thing for the city of Buchanan. We feel that we are. So with that being said, that's all I have. Thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you, Ms. George?
Yeah, I just want to thank Tony for everything that he's been doing in the last 2 weeks. You can definitely tell, like Mr. Moni said, it's just moving forward. And I appreciate the office ladies wanting to stay open. Thank you, Cal.
If you guys don't mind, staff's been absolutely amazing. They've made my 2 weeks of onboarding across the board so much easier than it could have been. So,
I have forgotten to tell him a lot of things.
well, yeah, including how to turn the lights on in the room. So I had a 5:30 meeting here last Thursday. 10 minutes wandering around, Mike walks in, he goes, "You gotta use the panel." I'm like, cool.
There's just a lot of things at City Hall that we forgot about.
Initiation of Buchanan.
Yeah, no, she's really like
Keep
making
you
sure.
in the dark for a while.
She is.
Then straight out.
I don't think about it, and then it just comes up, and I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot to
Here's
tell you
this.
that part.
Yeah, so anyway, thank you for that, and I'm just looking forward to what we have come before us.
Thank you.
So that's all. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Mr. Swim?
I think we're in great hands with you, Tony.
Appreciate
So
it.
I appreciate the conversations we've had. I definitely think we're going in the right direction. So
Yeah.
keep it up.
Thank you.
Look forward to seeing what happens.
Very good. Second, everything they said, I think I'll just leave this, and I say it with a heavy heart, is that Buchanan's taken some hits lately. Yeah, Buchanan's taken some hits. So I hope people just tell people you love them, tell people that you care about them. Yeah, it's just Buchanan's been taking some hits. Please do. Thank you. With that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I'll say one more thing for you.
Yeah, so,
He's reaching out for Miss Canadias. She was very well known. There was another, now I don't know what the other lady's name was, a Herman.
yes.
And then we lost young lady, she was only in her 50s, over in Niles. But, what's the factory over there?
Oh, Modern Ears.
Modern Air.
Diane.
Dreer. So there was three. I mean, I got family members that are pretty well acquainted with all
Diane.
three of them. So it was tough. They were all very young ladies. So
Yeah, so don't miss an
our
opportunity.
condolences out to everybody.
Yeah, please.
And I'll move to shut the meeting down.
Motion here, do I take a second?
Yeah, and I'll support.
Very good. Roll call, please.
Whedon,
Yes.
Bianski,
Yes.
Money,
Yes.
Swem, and George.
Yes.
You're adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Ladies, I did this for a year and a half.
By the way, don't get used to 30-minute meetings.
What?
Don't get used to 30 and 40